I'm good.
That's a problem. So here's the thing. Everyone should do their checks. I would say every year, do a checkup. For me, in my profession, yes, go and do your own checkup. It's good to have a check.
How much is a checkup, by the way? Like wanakuangalia macho everywhere? How do they do it? As I said, I'm grey in this area. I'm pretty sure watu wengi pia wako hivi tu kama mimi. So I'm being a fool on their behalf, which is okay with me, see mind.
Okay, but now here we are talking, this is just a general checkup, eh? Yeah, so general checkup, I don't know how much it is, but it shouldn't cost more than 20K, I don't think.
Motherfucker. 20 G's. Now you see, this is why.
Because of the blood tests you're doing, shida ni blood test.
So it's just the blood test inachukuliwa?
Unafanya blood test, wanakuangalia, you look okay.
Do they look at the eyes, the nose, the teeth, every part of the body, if I have cancer or not, AIDS or not?
They'll look at you if you have.
Will they stick a finger up my butt? Or like the thing I want to know.
Okay, so here's
because there's that, what's it called? Nimesikia kuna ile men at 40.
Yes,
yeah,
men at 40,
eventually.
45. When you get to 45, you're advised to go and do a colonoscopy every year.
At 45?
Yeah, when you get to 45.
No, how come it's just 45? Ama it's just the research umeona? There's that one case that inaweza tokea at 35.
Yeah, there's that one case that can come up at 35. But usually at 45, you're at a higher risk.
Okay.
So they say when you get to 45, as a man, start going for your colonoscopy checks. And when you're doing that, they will check everything from your prostate and everything.
And what causes that at 45? As in like weight gain, lifestyle?
It's lifestyle, and also the body gets predisposition. So everyone has their few predispositions, and this is like to cancer and everything. So you could get to 45 and then that gene decides to just get activated. When that happens, there's nothing much you can do. So it's just like us. For us women, we have to go for our checks. So you have to do your mammograms, you have to do your pap smear. And yeah, so and us every year, not every year, every 2 years you have to go and do a pap smear.
What's a pap smear?
A pap smear is a check for any cervical cancers or anything that could be affecting your cervix on the inside. So you have to go and do that every 2 years. So they check you for all of those things that can affect you. But usually it's a HPV that usually comes into question most of the time.
HPV?
Yes. Human papillomavirus.
No, easy my definitions. You have to, just don't come here with medical terms, man.
That one I think I would even have to look into. I haven't thought of HPV. But it's also
Elias alikuwa anafanya hivyo the other time alikuwa hapa. I don't know, it's like a flex. You guys get off it, HPV.
Yeah, but we can't, it's not that. It's just that you're so used to doing it and then you're just like, oh, okay. Yes. So, but then they have now, you can get a vaccine for HPV.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a virus.
But it's something that can be new in me, but then it's for women it affects us to the point where your cervix, you actually get cancer from HPV. So so those are the normal checks that you have to do. Your pap smear, mammograms as well. When you start getting to 45, 40, start going for regular mammograms. If you do know your family history, it's a good thing, but sometimes family history and how our lifestyle has changed and epigenetic things in terms of more chemicals or where you live, if there's a factory that came up, all of these things can affect you. So that's why you're told, it's okay, you go for your regular checkups. When we are young, we don't like doing it because, the world is your oyster. You are young. There's nothing wrong with you. And it's good. But when you start getting older, your body starts changing. So, and that's why you're told, treat your body as a temple as well.
You're right. Thank God, Nikki, to at least stumble in my late 20s. and cut down on sugar, a lot of things.
Yeah.
So there are 2 more conversational pivots before tufunge. So one of them, because me I'm into conspiracy na vitu zingine.
Oh, wow.
The thing is Bill Gates ni kama ameinfiltrate the fertility world. Umesikia hizi vitu. So
Yes.
I have to, kuna kitu ilikuwa ina go round our masculinity channel. I follow Americs, I'm a follower.
Okay.
You know Americs?
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
Americs.
uliniambia uko very grey on.
I'm very grey on those things.
But ask your feminist friend, I'm pretty sure anajua Americs ni nani. Wanamchukia vibaya. So the other day, there is a lady mwenye alikuwa in what do you call giving birth.
Yes.
And akaambiwa story na folic acid. She was given folic acid in a drip. A lot of doctors came kuangalia wakampatia kitu a sign. And apparently later on wakakuja kujua that it's part of the, what's it called? It's part of the Bill Gates Foundation. Yeah. What's it called? Folic acid. Yeah, so here is, I'm just going to, I don't know if you want to read it. This is the message.
So wait.
So that's the message the lady wrote to Americs about folic acid.
So why are they
Why are they what?
Why are they not giving full disclosure about this?
Yep, that's the thing. I thought doctors took an oath.
Oh, okay. I don't know how to nini about this, because I don't know much about it, but I will read on it a bit more. You need folic acid when you're getting pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're advised to take folic acid. It helps with the proper development of the child.
So here, Americs writes, after that message, wicked Bill Gates has infiltrated deep in the rural hospitals, conducting nefarious drug trials on Kenyan mothers without their consent.
Yes.
That one, you agree with it?
Yes, that one I agree. They should have told them what is happening and not administer them medication without actually telling them first. So you're supposed to talk to a person and tell them we are conducting a trial. This is what the trial is about. And if you're willing to participate, put your name down and read this document. And
he goes on and says, rural mothers are manipulated to sign documents under the pretext of context of these trials. And then he goes on to the next message he sent to the group. I wrote here that folic acid is a scam. I also did it on X and drew so much anger against me. But stay away from folic acid, it's useless. That's why it's given out for free. Anything free from the government is not free. It's paying you, it is you paying with your body, soul and spirit. So the thing is, he does not accept, it's like folic acid. He does not, what do you call it? He does not vouch for folic acid.
No, you need folic acid. If you're pregnant and you want to get pregnant, they tell you folic acid, you need it because it's for the development of the child.
Go on.
Now, in that context, I think that's totally different because I don't know the dynamics of that research or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, there is no one who should be doing what they did in that without actually talking to the patients or to these people beforehand. Because on the other hand, you don't just go giving folic acid just like that. I mean, if you already have enough or if your doctor's already prescribed folic acid to you, you should not just go and sit down in a hospital and be given in a drip. For me, I think that crosses a few very many kind of ethical and moral boundaries, which is not right.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you're doing a research of any kind, You don't just come and administer stuff to me. And you can't give me documentation after the fact because I have not consented to it. Consent is important. You should talk to people before you start doing these things. And it is very sad because they are taking advantage. I think they're taking advantage of people who do not know better. They're also taking advantage of people who do not have access to regular antenatal care. So like here, you're blessed, you're in Nairobi. Everywhere you go, there's a clinic for antenatal care. You're checked, your levels are done, and all of that. You proceed. They're taking advantage of people who do not understand what is going on. I mean, in most rural places, people get pregnant and give birth and just, they don't even know what's going on inside. They don't hear the heartbeat. They don't do all of that because that's how they've been. That's how they live. So that's why I think they're taking advantage. And I think if you tell someone, oh, we're taking care of you, and you are like, oh, okay, great. But then they put a drip and then you're given this, because at the end of the day, if you're doing a research project, you have to have consent. And that document is there. But the problem in this case is they're not talking to you before. They're just putting you in it and they're not talking to you before. Because if they talk to you before, most people will not sign that document. And most people will not be involved in that. Because, they wouldn't want to. Because of their mentality, their culture and everything. And also, do they really need it?
And also there's a lot of fine prints for your document on the sign. You know how these people are. Double speak, I was telling you.
Yeah. And also, to be honest, why are they doing it? Yeah, so these are questions that need to be addressed, and people need, and as I said, when it comes to the industry of fertility and reproductive health, when it comes to Kenyans and African countries, we don't have many regulations. So when we don't have regulations, people take advantage of you. We get taken advantage of. So we need to protect ourselves. We need to be like, we need to put things in place where we protect ourselves, because unfortunately, I think in Africa as a whole, we get manipulated and we get used a lot. We're the countries with the highest resources. We're the countries where, as much as fertility is an issue, our levels of fertility are not as low as in other countries. And these are not considered problems. These are good things. I mean, if you have good fertility is amazing, because childbirth is amazing. So we should not be looked down upon because we have the ability to reproduce. Having the ability to reproduce is a good thing.
Do you think P2 is a bad thing to women right now? Because from the small research we may do, a woman can get, a woman is fertile X amount of times in a year. I don't know how many times. How many times is it?
No, a woman is fertile fully, no matter what.
But there's, once they take that P2, it like covers them for like a longer time. From what I've heard, it's not the truth. That's why I like saying that.
Yeah.
That a woman can only get pregnant like 12 times in a year. Like there's that window.
Yeah, it's the fertility window.
Yes, the fertility. That's what I'm talking about.
So
how many times?
Every month.
Once?
Yeah, once a month.
Once a month, right?
And I'm not saying January to January 31st. It depends on your monthly cycle.
Okay, good.
So within your monthly cycle, you do have a fertility window. So
12 months, 12 times in a whole year, right?
Yes.
Once the lady takes the P2, the plan B.
So P2, it doesn't stop you from being fertile. It just prevents you from getting pregnant during your fertile window. If that makes sense.
So the next month,
you're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a contrary opinion to that from the doctors out there, including Amerix pia amesema hivyo, that once a lady akichukua P2, and I don't know if you're open, siku moja niwaite wote studio, ingekuwa fiti.
Sawa.
There's if women take P2, that they can, like, it's designed for them to go like 9 months. they will tell you kwa hiyo document on the box and stuff that this thing, but of course their fine print double speak pay iko kwa hizi companies as well, you see. So the thing is, I'm just caught up in that, na nataka tu kupata proper research, because they are doctors, these are professionals who are saying that women can only get pregnant. I mean, there's that window of fertility, na ina stretch 12 times in a whole year. So once a lady takes a P2 ama plan B, inaweza chukua, like some say 3 months, some say 6 months, and other people say 9 months.
No, I think now what you're talking about is contraception.
I'm not sure. So tell me about contraceptive.
Contraception is like birth control pills. Yeah. So P2 is a morning after pill.
Okay.
So the morning after pill will just prevent you from conception. It's not 100% true. You can take the P2 and you still fall pregnant.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Walai?
Yeah. And then there's also, nothing is 100%. You can't. And then there's a birth control where you can get the birth control as a pill, as an injection, as a patch. All of these, again, at the end of the day, is hormonal.
If they get that abdi juice, that's it.
So it's nice to love oneself.
No, you're the one who told me that Somalis wanakuanga na that fertile juice, yeah?
Ni sawa tu, it's true.
No, it's true for me. In fact, that's the other, what's it called, pivotal point.
Yeah.
No, as in the moment you told me, because hata see, there's a white lady alikuwa anasema hiyo on TikTok, and she was alisema me I couldn't get pregnant for a very long time.
Yes.
Akasema find an abdi. If you get an abdi, hata akikuguza hivi na kidole ama hata akikuangalia tu hivi, that's it. So that abdi juice is good.
Abdi juice is good. It's not bad. Yeah.
Nitafute.
Aya. Look at you. Yeah, so, and then there's a birth control. Again, all of these things are hormonal. So they can say 3 months, but depending on how your body reacts to it, it can stretch for much longer.
Oh, okay. So it's the contraceptives, it's not the plan B.
Yeah, it's not the plan B.
Okay.
So, and that's why you're told, be careful about contraception as well. Because if you're going to go on contraception, you can take it there's some people who take it for 3 months. A year later, they're still trying to get pregnant once they get off it. Because your body hasn't, sometimes it's all about the hormones for us. So anything that affects your hormones, especially when it comes to these things, can affect it in a positive way or in a negative way. So when you're doing contraceptions, they usually tell you to use an IUD because it is usually the safest option. You can stay with it for the longest time. And they do have the IUDs that don't release hormones as well. So you're supposed to look at all of these factors when you're thinking about your reproductive health. But yes, there is a lot of fine print in there, and there's also a lot of information that people are not told about. So it is good for you to do your own research. Always go and do your research and always put yourself in the shoes of, okay, if I don't want to get pregnant for 10 years, what will work best for me right now? Because as these people are saying, you can get off it, but then it affects you for another 9 months or 6 months. So you have to be very careful how you go about your reproductive health. Because, within the fine print, people don't read the fine print. And not only the fine print, you don't know how it will affect your body individually. Because how it affects me, how it affects you, 2 different levels. Once I get off it, how it affects me again after that, 2 different levels. So in your early 20s, people are not too concerned. But once you start getting to your 30s, start thinking about different ways of contraception as opposed to hormonal ways, because you don't know how those will affect you later on as well. But usually, I will tell people, you have to listen to your body as well. You can start one contraception, you can take the patch, and then you're like, oh, it's affecting me, I don't want to take this. Listen to your body. You can do the injection. You can be taking the oral pill. Like, just listen to your body and see how it reacts. And also just be very aware that there are chemicals in these pills. There are chemicals in all of this. So be very aware and just, ask yourself, if I'm going down this lane, go and see your gynecologist. Talk to him, even your GP, whoever it is. Just talk to them and tell them, and then hopefully you're with someone who will give you the right advice. Because at the end of the day, you have to rely on a specialist. You can't go and Google. You'll have more questions than answers. So at the end of the day, just go and talk to this person, and then hopefully the person who's across from you is actually giving you accurate information. But yes, these things can affect the body on very many different levels. So it's good to be careful with them and whatever you ingest, treat your body as a temple too, but also be aware about your goals. So if you want to have kids when you're 35,
avoid them.
Just plan yourself. You can take them in your 20s, but just plan yourself. Say, okay, so I've taken it for 10 years. Maybe I should stop now and just see how my body reacts once I get off it. Because it will react differently. Your body will not be the same.
Okay, good. Nakwambia hii ni game tunapatiwa hapo Dante, man. Hii ni game tunapatiwa.
No,
the thing is, no, as in knowledge. Knowledge is what I call game.
Oh, okay.
Game can stand for everything.
So many things.
I know we talked about game in another context, but chorea hiyo. The thing is, game in this context is information. And kuna kitu nilikuanga naona the other day. There's this lady called Barbara O'Neill. You know her? Amekuwa okay, so got it. So
stop asking me that question.
I know. Sasa ndo mwanza kuget. So the thing is, Barbara O'Neill talked about sperm.
Yes.
And I'm about to ask you, how complex is the sperm? Because she talked about the sperm being inside a woman.
Yes.
It's a foreign entity, you see? So the moment sperm goes inside a woman, it triggers her immune system, according to her. And then, once this immune ikirush to the sperm to destroy it, the sperm has other components in itself that neutralizes this immune system. So the next time this person who has come inside this chick akikam aifanye tena, the immune system of the lady will detect that this is the same guy who came last time. Probably it's my husband, so that's okay, inakuwa chilled. But if different men come, inakuwa triggered every time.
So I would say what she's talking about are antibodies.
Okay.
Yeah. So just with any foreign object that you get inside you, whether it's you or myself, your body will try and protect you from it. So it's like when you get an injury and then you start removing pus. That's the body reacting to. So you've gotten your mbao, whatever, a splinter. Yes. You've gotten a splinter, and then if you don't remove it in good time, your body reacts to it.
Yep.
So it's the same way in terms of the sperm. So once a sperm enters the body, if the antibodies are the same and everything is good, that is fine.
It's like a vaccine.
Yeah, everything just happens good. There are some people, unfortunately, when you go through that process, your body reacts against it. So the sperm and the egg and the body, they just don't mesh. So you find that that's a problem. So some people don't get pregnant because of that, because of their antibodies. So every time the antibodies, because they're different. So we do look at that as well as some of the reasons. So if you find a couple, they've been together sometimes, and then you just have to look at their antibodies within the semen sample, and then you'll be able to identify. And that's basically what happens.
So, I'm trying to piece things here together, right? I looked at what she said. I'm like, okay, fine. And now I look at female porn stars. Relax, I'm getting somewhere. I know you almost choked up. I look at female porn stars, and I look at their logistics.
Yeah.
You understand? And she said, worst off, if this sperm goes inside the anal, it goes to the anal section, it goes worse. You understand?
Okay.
So here's my question. Is the mental health of a woman tied to her reproduction, to her sexual activity. Because here's the thing, I've watched that documentary After Porn Ends, it's on Netflix. I encourage you to go and watch it.
Okay.
Out of the number of porn stars, because there are men porn stars and there are women porn stars, the suicidal ones are mostly women. Okay, all of them are suicidal, but majority are women. You get? So I was piecing, because Barbara didn't talk about porn stars. I was the one who was just piecing information. I was like, oh, okay, so. And I'm going to piece also another thing. There's this pimp, alikuwa anaitwa Iceberg Slim. Dave Chappelle talked about him. You know Dave Chappelle, though?
Yes.
Good.
Yay.
Nice. Number one fan pia. So Dave Chappelle talked about Iceberg Slim, a pimp mwenye alikuwa anaangalia dem hivi akasema, if I get this one to be one of my girls na azunguke, anajua mileage yake. After 500 fucks, atakuwa mechizi. So Iceberg Slim ni jamaa, was a pimp in the 70s, 80s huko. Was probably a street dude, hakuenda through any education. Ni kitu tu alianza tu kudevelop akiona, if this woman is used at an X amount of time, she loses her mind. You see? So again, the sexual activity of a woman, depending on different partners, does it dictate her mental state?
I think her mental state will determine her sexual activity. Because how you feel about yourself also determines the people you attract around you. Yeah. So, of course, mental state comes into play. And I think it goes both ways anyway. But mental state does come into play. It comes into play a lot also, not only about how you feel. Like you were saying, should we get ourselves checked? I think you should have a mental checkup every year or twice a year at the very most or very least. Go to a doctor and do have a mental health check and just so that you're okay. Because mentally, it's just like with every profession. How you feel, it comes into your work. It comes into how you relate to people. It comes into play. So when it comes to sexual partners as well, it will come into play. And as far as that guy who is called the pimp, that one, it's a knack that you develop. It's like, in your job, in your work, you look at a person and you're like, okay. When they do an interview, maybe you'll be with them and you're like, oh, okay, this person is a good fit for me in my profession, in my industry, and this person is not. Because these are things that you develop along the way and over time. So I wouldn't say, I would say mental health does play a part, but it goes both ways. Whether it's in terms of your partners or who you choose, or it's the other way around, but it plays a role.
Thank you for coming, man. I really wanted this talk sana, and I'm going to leave it hapo tu pali tu umemaliza. That's the peak. Kuyacha. And I'm not even going to say anything else. Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Have you shut down the cameras? How did it go?